Welcome back to Wanderlusting Lawyer and happy 2020. This is my first video of the new year and the new decade. And I'm excited because I know this is the time of year that a lot of people are starting to really plan their Caminos for the spring, summer, and fall. So today I have a shorter video, but hopefully it'll be useful information. I'm going to talk about internet and cell service on the Camino de Santiago. This video is probably a little bit more geared toward Americans walking the Camino in the Camino Francés or any Camino in Spain, but hopefully it should have some useful information for everybody. So regarding internet, the first time I lived in Spain was in 2005, and it was next to impossible to find Wi-Fi anywhere except for internet cafes. That's no longer the case. You will find Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, as they say there, just about anywhere you go. I think every albergue and hotel I stayed in had it except for the first night at Horizon, between Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and Roncesvalles in Spain. So make sure that if you're staying at Horizon, you tell your friends and family that you may not be able to contact them that first night. Unless you have cell service, which will transition nicely into my next point. I don't really have much else to say about internet. You should be able to find Wi-Fi a lot of places, and I think some albergues might even have computers if you need them, but I had no problem with the Wi-Fi where I was. As for cell service, so you may just decide you don't want to worry about it and you just want to use Wi-Fi whenever you can, and maybe, use your American phone in an emergency. Your phone should work there if it's a good phone with a regular plan, I guess. But you will likely be paying unless you have certain companies. So I guess your two options, if you want to use your phone more than just with Wi-Fi, are to make sure you can have your phone be unlocked and that you'll be able to put a different SIM card into the phone. Generally, to be able to unlock your phone, you have to have paid it off. So I know if you're on a monthly payment plan, a lot of times they won't unlock your phone, so that might not be a viable option for you. Payment plan for your actual phone, not the service. The other complication of that is that once you buy the SIM card, if you're starting in France, that's different service than in Spain, and it'd be roaming charges. So you'd have to actually wait until you got to Spain, and then your SIM card is only going to be for one particular phone company. So let's say it's for Vodafone, which is one of the cell phone companies or service providers in Spain. Well, if you're walking through an area where the only provider is Orange, you may not have service. So what I would recommend, if it's possible, and this probably won't be for certain people, but is to change over to T-Mobile. That's what I did years ago before the Camino, but when I knew I was going on a long international travel of a couple months. And basically with T-Mobile, in the plan, I can't remember the name of the plan. I think it's like T1 Magenta. At this point, it's had a lot of different names. You actually get free international texting and free internet. Free, but the internet is not the best. It's depends where you are, but so that's what I had on the Camino. I didn't pay for anything else, and I generally found it to be fast enough to use maps when I needed it while walking the Camino, and to use WhatsApp. As for social media sites, email, stuff like that, it often wasn't fast enough, but I didn't want to use that anyway during my time while I was actually walking. So I would just wait until the afternoon or nighttime when I had Wi-Fi and used it then. So that would be my recommendation. You also can, if you want to have better service, it's $50 for 30 days for 15 megabytes of is it megabytes or gigabytes? Gigabytes, sorry. Gigabytes of data lasts a month. That costs $50, 30 days. So you may need to end up paying a little bit longer depending on how long your Camino is. But in my opinion, that's the best thing you can do if it's possible to switch to T-Mobile. Otherwise, Your phone service provider likely has an international plan. I think they tend to be more expensive than T-Mobile's, but that's feasible if the SIM card route might be a little bit too much of a hassle. One more thing I wanted to note relatedly is that for charging your wireless device, your cell phone, you don't need a converter. All you need is something called an adapter, and it usually looks like this. This is the outlets in Europe are round pronged, and so on this side it'll fit your American plug. But instead of bringing this, pro tip is, some people bring long outlet strips with the thought being to share amongst a lot of people in the room because everyone is going to want to recharge, and some places don't have personal outlets. If you don't want to bring the weight and the size of that item, here's what I brought and what I would recommend. So it's essentially a universal plug, and you don't need this side for Europe. So you take it off, and you have this small piece to hook up here. This plugs in, and why I like this is that you have a plug and you also have 2 USB ports. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. 3 people can hook up to this and charge overnight. So you don't have to, take turns sharing the outlet. This is great for everybody. And I think this cost me maybe this one was a little more expensive, but I bought it like 5 years ago. I think it was $20 or $25 on Amazon. This particular brand is called Gear It or Gear IT. I can put the link if they're still selling it on Amazon in the video, but otherwise, I'm sure you can find many of this type, but I would definitely recommend having extra USB ports in it, so you can either charge multiple things or you can share with your neighbors. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and as always, buen camino.